Welcome back from the break. If you're just joining us, we are here with Amos Wemanya of Greenpeace Africa. And we've just gone through some of the stories, but I want him to tell us in particular about the climate change project that you have when in regards to renewable energy.
Yeah, what Greenpeace is doing right now is working on a campaign called Climate and Energy. And what we're doing is we're calling on all the players to take action to solve the problem that we have currently of the climate crisis. We are asking governments to divest their efforts, for example, to invest more in renewable energy, and decentralized energy generation systems that can help our communities adapt to the current challenges. For example, if we have solar projects in every community, then we cease depending on rain-fed agriculture and start having irrigation systems that are powered by solar. And this helps us build resilience to the current challenges.
But we've also seen instances where solar energy is not reliable, especially when it comes to even household needs and even the farmers' needs.
I think there's a lot of developments that have happened within the solar technology industry itself. Right now, uh, energy storage systems technologies are really advancing very quickly. We can store the energy that we have generated using solar and use it later. The argument has been that we can't use solar technology at night, for example. But
Or in cold weathers.
you realize that Germany, for example, or those Scandinavian countries, for example, they are more colder, they receive less sun than here. We're very lucky in the tropics, and we receive a lot of sunshine in the day. So if we can tap on this potential that we have and store, then we are able to make a lot of strides. Unlike relying on centralized energy generation systems, actually we have a lot of villages that are not connected on the grid. And access to energy is very important because it helps power various processes. Even as we speak right now that we are faced with the challenge of climate change and farmers don't know when to plant or to grow their crops, we can beat this by energy technologies that are more decentralized in terms of generating power. And solar has that potential. We shouldn't be talking about those technologies that contribute to the crisis that we already have. For example, coal power. We know that coal has been a major contributor to the current problem that we have, the climate crisis. So investing in coal will mean we just exacerbating the problem that we have and subjecting our communities and societies to more problems. Issues of sea level rise, making farmers lose their livelihoods. Issues of floods, like we are experiencing right now in East Africa. People are being displaced from their homes and losing their livelihoods and their loved ones. So we need to be more concerned about the current challenge that we have. And that's what Greenpeace Africa is pushing for, that governments, corporations need to take action because the cost of inaction is very high and we might not sustain it for too long because we can see the kind of impacts that we already have at the moment. They are very costly, but we can do something. And that something is not investing in coal. It is investing in renewables.
So one of the things that you've mentioned is the role that renewable energy has to play when it comes to mitigating climate change effects in Kenya. What are some of the other solutions that we should be looking towards to?
I think the times we're living in, technology has really evolved. And we should not be that society that always got off guard whenever these things happen. We need to invest in early warning systems that we can warn our farmers, we can warn our communities when for solar, for geothermal. But also, we still have a lot of industries to be developed, especially our farming systems are still dependent on natural conditions. So if we are able to develop these systems, then we are able to mitigate and build our resilience around it. Another thing is that The future looks bright for Africa because Africa is blessed with a lot of natural resources, like I've said, but also brilliant minds, young people. We can tap on the potential of our young people to be able to innovate and co-create solutions to this problem. And I'm impressed that our young people, even here in Kenya, have been pushing for a brighter future. And that's why they've been joining the global movement of Fridays for the Future to ask governments to take urgent action for their future. Because I think these young people are getting involved in this global movement, understand that the future is bright for them. But it can be denied if we continue doing these things the same way that it's been done. If we continue copying and aping the Western way of development that has failed the world, Africa needs to rethink its own way of development. And this can only be done if we take advantage of what we already have.
So we need to come up with our own solutions,
Our own
homegrown,
African solutions.
tailored to
African
Africa.
context. The problem I've had before is when you speak about these issues, you are told that the West developed because of A, B, C, D, for example. Then they keep quoting about the West having developed using coal. But when was that? Then did we have developed renewable energy technologies like we have today? No. We are living in a different time. Then we didn't have the challenges of climate change. We used to receive rainfall when it is for...
Great. New solutions that are tailored to Africa. Okay. So we move on to our story. Kenya is an agriculturally rich country with significant rainfall through the year. One of the greatest challenges that farmers have encountered is lack of access to clean planting materials, which result and affect the overall production. Busia County has partnered with Palm and Oil International, a seedlings propagation company international, to see to it that farmers have access to certified seedlings.
Kenya is an agriculturally rich country with significant rainfall through the year. One of the greatest challenges that farmers have encountered is lack of access to clean planting materials, which in result affect the overall production. Busia County has partnered with Palm and Oil International, a seedling propagation company international, to see to it that it has access to certified seedlings. Daniel Itela is a manager at Nuts and Oil International, whose dedication is to ensure that farmers get clean and certified seedlings for high production, especially at a time like this when the international market has opened up for fruits such as avocado.
We are doing propagation of seedlings. We are planting fruit seedlings, which are the avocado varieties. We're doing avocado as well as mango. We are planting them, and then afterwards we do grafting. We do grafting in order to improve the quality of the seedlings. We want our farmers to have access to quality planting material, and that's the reason why we started up this business venture. Why did we go into propagation of avocado seedlings? Well, at the moment, if you look at the world market, there's quite a demand for avocado seedlings, especially the Hass variety, which we're propagating here. So we decided to seize that opportunity in order to ensure that farmers in Busia County can be able also to benefit in terms of, providing fruits for export to the external markets. And at the moment, our production capacity is at 500,000 seedlings for avocado. We are also doing mango seedlings, and the varieties that we're doing for mango is apple mango. We have Ngoe and Kent. And total capacity that we have of seedlings for mango is 150,000 at the moment. And we are collaborating with the county government of Busia to ensure that farmers in Busia County have access to quality certified seedlings. There's been a challenge where farmers have been complaining that the seedlings that they get from the local nurseries are not of good standard and quality because the nurseries are not certified. So that's why Nuts and Oils took that as a challenge to ensure that our farmers have access to certified seedlings. The county government, through its Department of Agriculture, offers extension services to our farmers. We are a private company. We don't have the capacity to train farmers. But through our collaboration with the county government, we are able to ensure that farmers, before they come here to buy seedlings, they go through some trainings. They go through trainings in terms of how to take care of the seedlings right from the start, right from when you have it to the time you put it to the ground. And then we also train them on how they can be able to, do scouting, do a lot of disease surveillance so as to ensure that the seedlings, are free from many diseases. And in the long run, it will benefit them, because if the seedlings are free from diseases, the germination rate is quite high. And once it becomes a tree, even the fruits, once you want to sell them, you won't have troubles, accessing the markets or having your product being rejected by various markets. There is money in fruits. There's a lot of money. We usually buy the fruits from them ranging from a price of for one fruit you can buy at a price of 3 to 5 shillings. For the avocado, the same price for the mango. These are indigenous fruits, and we have seen quite a change in the community in terms of the way they take care of the environment, the way they conserve their trees, their fruit trees especially, because it has brought a turnaround in terms of income. Women are now, especially the female-headed households, are able to earn extra income from the fruits that they sell to us. So farmers usually supply us with the fruits. We pay them on delivery here, but first we have to do sorting. We have to reject the bad seeds.
So we have been talking about educating farmers, training farmers on the proper ways to go about everything from farm all the way to fork. I want to get your reaction to this story before we move on to other questions.
I really like the partnership bit, but maybe I need to ask some more questions before I react to that story. One of the things is that who's developing these seeds? Is it the farmers by support from palm oil company, or is it the palm oil company that's bringing seeds to the farmers? What we have faced as Greenpeace Africa working with farmers is stories where farmers get seeds from these companies, but these seeds are self-terminating. What does that mean? You plant this season, you can't use what you have produced to replant. So you have to go back to the company that gave you the seeds for the next planting season. So you become dependent to that company. So we need to start asking questions about having food sovereignty and controlling our production systems and the inputs. So if it is the farmers who are developing these seeds by themselves, that's a great story. That's what needs to be supported. That we need to support locally propagated and produced seeds. This makes farmers more independent.
So how do we empower farmers in that instance?
What we need to do is, these farmers have had seeds that they've been growing over time. We need to help them to develop these seeds by, let's say, coming up with a program where they have a seed bank of locally developed seeds. If you want to grow, for example, your beans, you know where you can find the seeds for the beans, in a seed bank somewhere that is designed for that group of farmers, and is determined that those seeds can perform very well in that kind of environment. This actually enables farmers to be independent, like I said before, which is very important. Because much of the problems we are facing right now is farmers are dependent on corporations. And this is increasing their production costs. And this is making them even not to realize anything from their activities. So it doesn't just start with the market and the brokers. It starts at the production level, where farmers have had to depend on companies. I know when companies come, they have an objective, and that the objective is to make profits, and probably the objective is not for the interest of the farmer. So we need to question some of these things. But partnerships are good, but if they are for the benefit of the farmers. So these partnerships need to be interrogated.
So they need to be interrogated. And farmers need to be given the tools, or rather empower them, to be able to grow their own seedlings from all the way from production all the way.
Yeah, I think we need to empower farmers to participate actively in the whole agricultural production and supply chain, the entire agricultural supply chain. We need to empower our farmers to participate more actively to be able to benefit, including value addition to what they produce before they get it to the market. You don't have to bring bananas to Nairobi as you grew them, but you can make banana chips and sell them to Nairobians.
And even that even touches on our last story for today. Now, in Kisumu, Kenya's third biggest city, fish is a culinary delight and one of the biggest economic activities of the cities. But once the most desired parts of the fish are cut off, or rather sold off, the rest is wasted. Newton Owino, a local tanner, has found an innovative way to make sure that no part of the fish is wasted, thereby creating fish leather.
It's leather, but not as you know it. Newton from Kisumu in Kenya is a tanner of fish leather. Once the scales are off, the fish skins dry for a day before Newton can start tanning. First the skins soak in a drum, then the remaining flesh is taken off so the skins can be stretched.
This is what we now call a crust, fish leather crust.
Newton decided to create his fish tanning business in 2012 after witnessing huge quantities of fish being wasted in the fishing industry.
In Kisumu, we have several filleting industries, fish filleting industries. They produce close to 150,000 metric tons of fish waste. 80% of this is actually fish skin. Initially, this fish skin used to be thrown.
Newton now employs 12 people full-time. Agnes has been working with him for nearly 4 years.
I discovered this trade, and from then on my life was changed. Before it was difficult, now it is much better.
As well as cutting down on waste, Newton has also turned his hand to fashion, creating his own fish leather footwear and clothing.
If we have fish, why can't we be proud of our fish and use it more economically and be proud of it? So when I put on the shoes made from fish leather, I put on the cap as well as the jacket, I feel happy, I feel very proud.
Through investment, Newton hopes one day to employ more people, scale up his business, and make a name for fish leather on the world stage.
Now, this is just what we're touching on, the importance of empowering farmers to even venture into other different areas, such as value addition.
That's a very interesting story. One is that nothing goes to waste. And it's African culture that nothing should actually go to waste. This throwaway culture is very new to us. I remember when we were very young people, we would eat everything on our chicken when given, even the eyes. Nothing goes to waste. So Owino's story is very interesting, that he's found ways of adding value to the fish leather and being able to produce more products in the market to what would have been waste. And this inspires me to think that we have a bright future as a country. We have so many innovative young people, but they need support in terms of policies. For example, in the leather industry in this country, you find that we need to have policies that support the growth of leather industry. Manufacturing the products from leather needs to be supported. You find the cost of production or manufacturing of these products is very high. And that's why you realize that some of these products that are produced locally from leather materials, for example, if you have a belt from fish leather, it would be very costly compared to if I was to import a belt from Thailand or wherever. This is because cost of production here is very high. And this comes down to the issues of energy as well. You find that our electricity is very costly because we've entered into contracts that have bound us to continue paying corporations even when they don't produce power for us. So we need to find ways of producing cheap power so that it reduces the cost of manufacturing products here, adding value to our products. If I was to add value to agricultural products, I need to do it in a way that is less costly so that my product becomes more competitive in the market. Otherwise, it becomes expensive and consumers will always go for products that are less expensive. So investing in decentralized, for example, energy production systems allows these innovative initiatives to blossom because we are able to produce these products at a low cost and they become more competitive regionally and even internationally.
For many farmers who want to do farm to fork, one of their major concerns, or rather one of their major challenges, is the cost of production when it comes to adding value. Because for instance, if it's fish leather or you're adding value, let's say to your bananas or sugarcane or that, you need some type of equipment, and that equipment is very costly to acquire.
Yeah, equipments are very costly, but also like I said, the cost of power, also properties here are not regulated. So if you are going to acquire a premise, for example, where you're going to produce your things, then you pay very highly. But again, our markets are unregulated. You find that the government allows in competitive products of what is being produced by our own people. So we don't protect our farmers, we don't protect our innovators to be able to produce for this market. You find we allow in cheap products from elsewhere to come in this market and outcompete our very own initiatives.
So how then do we empower our people and also protect them when it comes to the market?
I think there are so many ways. One of them is subsidizing some of these processes. For example, exempting taxes on some of the equipment that come in to promote this kind of ventures. For example, if it's an equipment that is going to help smallholder farmers add value to their product, then there has to be a policy that it is exempted from paying tax. So the farmer can acquire this equipment at a subsidized rate. Or taxing products that are coming from outside, because probably they have received subsidies in their countries, you see. So if we allow these products to come in to outcompete, then we're putting our producers, our innovators in a situation where they are wiped out of the market even before they start. And we discourage such innovative ideas and initiatives like Owino's, because Owino needs to be supported. But how is he going to be supported? He needs to produce his leather products at a competitive rate. So we need to protect him to be able to operate in this market and be more competitive, to be able to make profits or gains from the work that he's doing. And I really recommend that everyone should embrace no waste, because there is nothing that goes to waste. I'm really, really inspired by it.
That is quite an inspirational story. And as we wind up, I want to give you a chance to speak to any person who is watching you right now. What would you like to tell them?
We are faced with the situation, and right now it's our responsibility to find solutions. We can't hide behind inaction anymore, because the cost of inaction is going to be very expensive for us. As we can see, we're already having impacts of climate crisis. The extreme weather events are here with us. So we need to really take action to protect ourselves, to build resilience, and also guarantee the future for our children. So Greenpeace Africa is calling on you to be an agent of change, because we all need each other in this. It's everyone's responsibility to make sure that we have a future that is more sustainable, a future that is more inclusive.
Thank you so much, Amos, for coming on the show and sharing your insights. We really appreciate it, and we'll definitely have you back again.
Thanks very much, Esther, for having me.
Now that wraps it up for us here on This Week in Agriculture. Thank you so much for being with us throughout the show and for engaging with us on our social media platforms, that is at Farm Kenya, and also on our SMS line on your screen. From the entire team of KTN Farmers TV, we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm Esther Gishuki, and until next time, goodbye.